Cool.
All right. Welcome to session 2, day 2 of Commsverse. You guys having a wonderful conference? Yeah. Are you guys awake yet? The caffeine's kicked in now? Yeah? Excellent. All right. We've got David presenting on small little things like Teams. And at the end, we're going to give away this amazing Poly headset. So David, save me a minute to do a swag it. We'll do some swag it at the end. And careful, don't trip over the microphone or the speaker. I already did that. Take it away, David.
Cool, thank you. Good morning, everybody. Just checking, who is here for the first time on the Commsverse? Okay, which means that the other ones already have been there. Okay. I'm here for the third time. The first time it was a virtual event, right? I feel like a dedicated Commsverse conference speaker because it's the only conference where you can find me because they have a really great community. So it's recorded. Mark, thank you very much for inviting me again and accepting the session. And now also thanking all of those super vendors, making this possible. So thank you for attending my session. It will be more or less because I'm a customer. I'm not the consultant. I'm more or less a consultant for my own company because I work as a collaborative workplace product owner right now. But in the past, I was more or less a Teams voice engineer and architect who was building in the past a lot of Cisco, Unify, and operating other voice areas. But then I decided together with company to switch to the Teams. So I have pretty much the Teams voice background, building that from the scratch. And it evolves, and now I'm the one who is in the company after I build it. Now I'm the one who is making a decision about that as a product owner, taking care about the overall Office 365 and the contact center topics, Teams room systems, Teams voice. So it will be more or less like a customer speaking to other customers, or maybe other partners, and exchanging the experience if you want. And if you learn something, then maybe from my experience, which I already explored, and that will be my main target, like that you will learn. If you haven't already fall with Teams as a contact center solution, then maybe we will rise together for the proper solution. And because I like Teams, I'm considering myself as a geek who is interested into this topic. So when I saw that there is a beta for the Teams Voice Engineer, I just tried it and I made it. So I'm even certified for this stuff. So I will hopefully not talk only so much misleading things about and only assumptions. It's also confirmed somehow within the certification. So a little bit more about who am I, what is the company that I'm working for. I'm working for the group company HeidelbergCement, which is building construction materials company. We have 50 countries, locations, almost more than 51. It's fluctuation, it's evolving. So now it's around 51,000 employees, and we have 3,000 locations. So if we talk about, getting phones somewhere, it's quite tricky because you have 50 countries and 3,000 locations. It's not an easy, but definitely we are not talking about all countries having the Teams phone as their main telephony. But already we are in 11 countries, and it's growing. Like now we are on somewhere 3,250 of the users using the Teams telephony, really using that, not only having that, but really using. We have more than 70 call queues. It's also growing. So we have the experience with making the Teams call queue setup and running that in production. And we use also devices, and it will grow because we have a huge projects in front of us to migrate some on-prem telephony. So it will grow. So this is the background, so as you can understand the context of the overall story. And if I say story, then as I said, it was my first time when I was sharing the story of our company, building the Teams telephony and migrating 800 users just right before the pandemic. So they just switched to home on March 2020, and they did not recognize too much pain because of ringing phones, because they already had the Teams telephony and they adopted, so they just move on. It was not a prediction, it was just a coincidence, but we did it on time. And then I follow up within the story a year ago, or not even a year, about how we are trying to shape the setup even for the production sites, for the cement plants, for the weighbridge, for the post offices, like how to make these a little bit more tricky locations, because you cannot imagine that the people will wear the headsets, for example, in the cement plant, or that they will use the Teams as a soft client within the telephony. So how we tackle this topic about licenses, how common area phones were a little bit tricky for us at the time when they switched the thing. So that was a story, and the story is evolving. So what's the next chapter? So since 2021, we had also another use case, contact center. And you see that it's evolving, that we are not like making a big bang, how it's possible, because we have an inside IT team which is taking care about all of the infrastructures, like group infrastructures, and we have a capability to slowly move on, like with migrations. It's not like that we need to cancel some contract with some support maintenance company or anything like that. We don't have really well, we have some budget and things which we need to solve with that, but it's slow motion, I would say. We can do it properly. So we are having multiple use cases for the contact center or for the call center, and within that we are also having a different solutions. And it was absolutely natural, and we were asking ourselves, can we most of those use cases, or at least some of those use cases, tackle within the Microsoft Teams as a solution? So what are the options? What you can do with that? So definitely Teams, Outed, and the call queues became topic for us, and we started to explore that. And may I ask you, how in your company, or do you use already Outed and then call queues in Teams? Yes. Okay. Fine. Then you will probably many times say yes. Yes, that's true. But there are also other opportunities, right? And it's like having a look on the solution, which are certified or not fully certified, but on the certification part, and that's the Teams Extend Model Contact Center. And when I'm saying Teams as your contact center solution, then I mean it really, that I want to have a Teams as that contact center solution. I want to have a simple setup. I want to have an integrated experience. So beside that, we have also these other models of Teams contact centers, right? These like Connect. Well, that they are power, but I'm not meaning that it's not a native Teams experience, but I mean it like there is nobody yet, as far as I understood, who is having the power model. And Teams Connect, it's more or less, I will make a decision to make the contact center solution somewhere else, but I will integrate it to Teams. It's not really making a decision, I will do it with Teams, from my perspective. So those are the options. And what I would like to share with you today is our lessons learned from that and the experience. So maybe if you are at the beginning of that path, then you will learn from that. And there is also one more option, like Teams plus tools that will resolve the missing points. That's also an option, just to close the topic. So let's talk about those small things in the management, in the experience, and in the reporting, because I like structure, so I just made it more structured. So I will talk about these three main pain points and how we are dealing with those things. So starting within the Teams and Outed and call queues management. So what we considered as really good thing, that you can really build quite nice structured flows. Like if you really know how to do all of those things with the Outed and then for which reason to use the Outed and then for which reason use the call queue, you can build very, very nice call flows, and even complex one. And you can do this time schedule, you can do the holidays, which is perfect. And when I was writing the presentation, just came into my mind, oh, we just missed to set up the holidays for 2022. So, lessons learned also for me from making the presentation. You can set up the greetings and announcements, and you can do it even with the text-to-speech, which is not available even in some of the on-premise contact centers, and it's very, very convenient to write a message. And what I was really surprised was the quality of these neural voices. Like, really, some people would not even say that it's not a real person. So, amazing. Or you can upload your own file, and it's not like that you need to make a special type of the file with mono and only 16 bits and let the people record it in a special way. No, you can upload a WAV file. Like, it can be also crazy if they give you the WAV file, which is very, very big quality. But what we don't like all of those things only Teams administrations can do. And if you imagine 50 countries, 3,000 locations, supervisors, I will not give my Teams admin rights, to all of those supervisors who needs to change just the message for the emergency or whatever. So that's a pain, and it's increasing the operational cost because you need to have people who will maintain that, who will, create a ticket and make a change, and somebody will need to go there and change it. It's a work, and for that work, as a product owner, I need to count within the operation people. So, yeah. Call queue greetings only as uploaded file. Like, this is, please, Microsoft, if you can do that in auto attendant, the text-to-speech, why you cannot do it in the call queue? It would be really amazing if you can just, do it consistently. So if you would like to make a greeting in the call queue, because you don't need to have an auto attendant, just be aware if you would like to offer the call queue just with text-to-speech, it's not there. There's just the upload of the greeting, unfortunately. It is what it is. But anyway, also on the positive side, the call queue membership possible to be managed by the supervisor. Awesome, you can have a group and you can tell to the supervisor. If you want to provision new agent, it's simple, just put them into this distribution group. Lovely, you don't need to ask the ticket to service desk and make it happen. Oops, it takes like at least 8 hours to make that happen in real. So it's not usable for those moments when, hey, I need to now pick up those 5 agents because really this is now tricky in this call queue and we need to support them because the people are missing. Can you make it happen? Yeah, you can put it into the distribution, but you need to wait a few hours. But there is a way how to speed it up. So if you have a contact to the administrator and, hey, can you renew that list very quickly? There is a way, there is a possibility. You just need to save the application again, and then it will renew the list of the agents immediately. So you don't need to wait these 8 hours or 24 hours in the worst case. You can just renew somehow the application. And if you are good in the Power Apps or whatever and automation, then you can maybe make a script which will renew all the applications in in every hour, and just save that in the PowerShell, and then you are fine. And you can tell worst case 1 hour. But would you like to do that for all of the queues all the time? Well, there is no option to manage the status of the agent in the call queue by the supervisor. So the supervisor cannot change, you can opt in, you can opt out, the agent not working, unfortunately. And this was one of the requested features from our supervisors. And you do not have the influence or the order of the agents in the group. So if you are using the group, and you would like to use the serial routing method for distribution of the call, then good luck to guess what will be the order, but it will be all the time the same order. It's based on the object ID. So if you have the object IDs, sorted, and it's that order, but you cannot do anything about that. Well, 2021 was quite exciting. We even joined the TED program for the voice-enabled channels, the collaborative call queues. It was an amazing announcement. I was like, this is something which really makes sense. You will have the finally Teams call queues in the Teams, not artificially, but you will see them in the Teams. You will have them there. You will have the opportunity to see the calls which are dedicated. I really love that. This is the official announcement picture from tech community. If you look on that, it's suspicious, right? Because all of those calls happen at the same time and have the same length, and it's definitely mock-up somehow. if you look on that more closer, it also has things like all calls, my calls, missed calls, and then you have also some other possibilities. Well, the reality looks different nowadays, and we know that, right? But it was a huge improvement in terms of the experience for the agents. So the reality looks like something like that. It was from the time when I was doing my tests. So we don't have any missed calls. We don't have any things like all other calls. There are no other things. There is not even the length of the call. It's just providing me who was the calling person And here it's providing the mixture of the thing. Why? I will tell you later. But as you can see, it's a mixture. One time it was the agent who received the call, and one time it's an out attendant which was sending the call to the queue. How is that possible? I will tell you. And this is the next step of that experience. Like, you accept the call, and what the agent sees immediately, a black screen, a big screen of the call, which just pop-ups on you and says to you that it's doing some transfer and whatever, and yeah. And then you have a call, then you need to hide it, then you need to switch to your application. So yeah, there was a huge experience improvement, and we like that. Like, finally, we had the call history separated per channel and queue. In very early times, it was not there. You had just, in each calls tab, in the Teams channels, you had all calls which you had in the call queues. No matter which call queue it was early beginnings. Now it improved, and you have it separated. So you have this call queue in this channel, and you see only these dedicated calls. It's fine. What you have is the faster update of the call history. So like, there were the improvements. Even if you don't see really visible improvements over the last year, there were improvements. Like, the call history is updating much more quickly than in the past. In the early days, it was like you need to switch to a different channel and back to this channel, and then you see, oh, here we go, my calls. So, calling on behalf of the main number, oh my God, very, very requested feature. I don't want to, my agents calling with their own number. I would like to hide them. That's great. Like, we now can do, calling on behalf. So anytime you dial number here, you have the possibility of, going here and, change the number of calling. Cool. You can do it now already, and it's on the roadmap. I believe they will release it. You can very soon do it even from the calls application. So you can even call and dial out on behalf of the resource account, which is your call queue or call out attendant, and you can make a call on behalf of that. Okay, voicemail visibility. This was also really nice. The people had one merged in place where to find even the call history, even the voicemails. And what was also the nice thing that it's giving you also I don't have it here, but the transcript of the voicemail, and you have the visibility of that. And you have the visibility of the team. So it's not really obvious about only 2 people in my team here, but you can have the overview. Is this the fastest way how to find out the availability of the agents? I would say I see still some delays. Like, you change the status on your Teams client, and you look to the colleague if they see it already. It's not the fastest. Like, it's not instant. How would you perceive the contact center application should behave? Like, that you change the status and it's there. Maybe it's there in the system, but you don't see it as an other agent, like this kind of a presence. Okay, dark side. We really want to have a missed calls. That's the statement from our agents. We really need to know from those reportings. We see that there are abandoned calls. Can you tell us who are the callers? Well, yeah, I can tell you. I can pull it down from the PSTN usage reports. I can take it, but that's not the usable thing for the administrators to do that all the time. And we cannot do it for the agents in convenient way in the Teams native. So in the call queues, you don't see those missed calls. You don't see the complete call history also of your colleagues. You see only your calls. So you don't know who took this customer, who was speaking with this one, or if it's just a simple call queue, I don't know who was dealing with our colleagues about this story, like about this ticket or whatever. And they are missing the real-time visibility of what is happening in the call queue. Like, where are my calls waiting and how long? And I need to know if the call queue is really busy or not. I need that immediately. And I'm not talking only about the dashboard, like fancy dashboard which you will have somewhere on the screen that the Workers' Council will tell you then shut it down because it's not supposed to be there. They should not see it because HeidelbergCement is coming from Germany, so Workers' Council discussions. Oh, it's recording. So that's something which they really miss, and even if it's integrated somewhere, in the calls tab, to see how many, just 2 small things somewhere here, waiting calls, would be great, really. And now talking more about the experience and the setup. So now it will be for the voice guys, okay, a little bit more. So presence, Teams guys. Presence-based routing, yes or no? So what is presence-based routing? You are routing the calls and offering the calls to the agents based on their availability in the Teams. If they are available, they will get a call. If they are not available, they will not get a call. Which means it's solving the, a little bit of check. It's solving the problem for the agents with higher call volume, because if you do not enable the presence-based routing, what happens, there is a second call coming. I'm already on a call as an agent, and that call is coming to me. Again, like, why it's offering me the call? Because I'm already on the call. The system should know it. You know, for some people, it's important to see all the calls, and they can pick, you know, which one at the time. But if you have a high volume of calls, that's not really convenient for them. So the presence-based routing is solving that, because it will not offer you the call if you are not available. And unfortunately, the problem which appeared is we are using our calendars for managing the tasks and the trainings and things like that, but also for, you know, I want to have in the calendar of the agent that they will be dealing today with this call queue. And if you have an entry in the calendar, what it means for the teams, you're busy. If you do it in the way that the calendar will make you busy, right? So you need to deal with that somehow. And you know, even we have customers who, we have agents who are doing for that personal purpose somehow, and then we're not getting a call. So I'm sorry, I was just having something in the calendar. Oh, but you're not supposed to do that. So that was a little bit tricky. So there might be a reason why not to use the presence-based routing. But if you have the presence-based routing, there is still calls from queues which reflects the agent's calling policy. What is the calling policy? You have on the user setup calling policy, which is telling you have a busy on busy enabled, or you have a busy on like dealing as an unanswered call. So that is also reflected in the overall routing list of the available agents. So you can have a presence-based routing, and you are fine. Like, let's do the comparison, okay? So you can have a presence-based routing on, and if you have, just no matter if you have a busy on busy enabled, the second call from queue will just not ring. Why? Because you are on the call and you are not available, right? But what about the direct calls? That's a different story. You as an agent can also receive the direct call. And the direct call is not dealing within the call routing the same way like the call queue calls. So you can still get the next call coming in, the direct one. And now it's about your decision. Would you like to have the direct call overrun your call queue call? Like, it will give you the pop-up, it will ring to you, the headset will ring, and inside and outside, and it will give you the notification your boss is calling. Do you want to do that? Yeah, sure. Okay, fine. Do that. Do you really keep the agent focused on the call queue call? Then set up the busy on busy. And like make it enabled for the agents or as an unanswered. It will reflect that. Okay, what about if the presence-based is off? There is, again, a little bit difference. So you are not routing the call queue calls based on the availability. You ignore that. No matter if you are busy, no matter if you are outside of the office, no matter, it will just ring because the presence-based is switched off. But does it mean that if I'm on a call from the queue and another call is coming from the queue, will that ring to me if I enable the busy on busy? That's what I was testing a couple of days, and I was doing the several scenarios because I also found some tech community questions about that, so I was testing by myself, and this is the result. So if you enable the busy on busy, which means that if I'm on a call, please do not bother me with other ones, then the other calls coming from queue or the direct calls will simply not ring to me because I'm on another call. But if you disable the busy on busy, all calls will bother you anytime. So just count on that. And it's a choice. You can make the combination because then it will maybe reflect the needs of your users. Okay, another story is about conference mode. Yes or no? Do you use the conference mode? everybody says, yes, why not to use? I had a chat yesterday. Why not to use the conference mode? Is there any reason for that? Use it. Well, there is reason. So it's officially recommended. It's required even if you would like to have a Teams user consult and transfer within the call queue, because then you can do the consult and transfer. If you do not enable the conference mode and you consult the call queue, then it will generate a new call, but you will not have an option to transfer it. It will just be on the 2 calls. So that's the experience that you need to find out if you set it up wrong. So that's one of the reasons why to have it. But there is also some reason why not to have it, that the agents might be a little bit freaked out about oh my gosh, there is music on hold anytime I'm, calling to connected to the customer, I'm listening to the music on hold. Might be not a problem for you, because it might be a millisecond, it might be a second, but if you have a regional account, the tenant set up in Amsterdam and you have Australian people, there is dependency on that fact that it's really, really far away, and Australia is a little bit specific about the connections, and then it could be like that they're listening 3 seconds to music on hold, and it's not really a convenient thing, like listening 3 seconds. Everybody is like, hey, that's not the thing which you would like to do. But it's still better than the silence. By the way, we also experience the silence. Be aware about this conference mode, and if you use the attendant routing, it does not support the compliance recording. So if you are using the compliance recording, and you are using the attendant routing,
that's Teams native compliance recording.
Not like, from those companies which are offering...
It's only within Teams using the policy recording.
Yeah, Teams policy-based recording, yes. So if you are using that one, then if you are using the external CPREC or whatever, then yeah, you are fine. You don't care about the conference mode. But for us, it was lessons learned, because nobody was reading that pink box in the documentation. Nobody had the idea, should I check if I can enable or disable the conference mode for the attendant routing call queue if I am now enabling the compliance recording? Sorry, I was not. Simply, I was not. By accident, I found it, and then I was telling to the guys, just be aware about this. And surprise, surprise, there is a difference in the experience on the desk phone. So if you have an agent who is using the desk phone, now common era phones will be available in a call queue, might be a use case for you. There is a different experience. Why? I will tell you. So the conference mode, I just made the slide very quickly before the session because I didn't want to make drawings in the sky. So this is the conference mode. You are joining basically to the conference within the agent. That's the reason why it's quick. There is even the music on hold bot joined into that conference. So that's the reason why you are listening to the music on hold, because everybody's in the conference. So it's a conference concept. And then you have a transfer mode, which means that you are calling to the bot. Then it's picking up the agent, and what it makes, that the agent is creating somehow the transfer back to the calling party, which was changed some couple of months ago as based on my discussion with Frank, who was also in the audience, and I did not even recognize that it changed, but it changed, and now I know that it's working like that. So the transfer mode is working in this way. And as a result, you see 2 different things. If you are using the conference mode, then you will see the first one. And if you are using the transfer mode, then for one call, you as an agent will see 2 calls. One is that incoming call, and the second one is that one that you are making during that transfer thing, that you are as an agent connected to that. So this is the calling customer. Just not to confuse you, that's me, like I was calling my call queue. And you see there is incoming for the customer service support call queue, and at the same time, or after 1 second, it generated that call to that calling customer. Which means that if you have a look on your phone, there is a difference between the conference mode, because if you are as an agent, this is the incoming call for the agent, so to the agent, and there is a customer service auto attendant as a calling party. So who is calling me? The customer? Yeah, but which one? I don't know. If you use the transfer mode, it gives you the name, even within the lookup into the Active Directory. So it was my mobile phone, actually, which already did the reverse lookup, and I got the name. So maybe the transfer mode makes sense. Reporting, very quickly, because you are using the caucus. You know that. Do you know that the Power BI template is coming still from 2020? No improvements, just, okay, maybe even changing some of the colors to the default, maybe a way. Sorry, so it's really confusing for most of our supervisors. I don't know what's your experience, but it's really confusing. The call quality dashboard, data store is used for that, which means that you need to create even the admin rights for some of those supervisors. I don't know how you do that. I just said, no, this is not the way. We should not grant the report views rights to those people, because then they have an access even to the analytics and they can run even different reports on top of the Microsoft Teams environment. It's not nice. So what you need to count on is, if you do it like we set it up the people within the Power BI license, and we as administrators, we are creating a special view, and we are basically publishing the reports for them. So we are creating our own template, which is for the specific call queue and for the specific auto attendants that they need to understand, and then we publish them and we share it with the respective supervisors. So as they do not have to make these connections to the cloud and download all of those reports and then having all of those 70 call queues, which they are not interested because they are from Australia and then they're also from Morocco and from. It's not really the way forward. So we need to put the effort to build that for them, for the specific contact centers. But then I do not have to do those reader admin rights updates for them and teaching them too much the Power BI. So just for those who never ever see that, like what the supervisors are complaining about, it's like, yeah, call queue name, it's not true, it's a resource account name. Then the agent names in very, very ugly formats. Yeah, there is a space for improvement. Like, I would say, if you do, well, what we do is that we even change these fields and we make that a little bit more convenient for them to understand what we are talking about, because we have some standards about the naming. So GRP, CQ, what does it mean? So then you know how many abandoned calls you had. You don't know who were the customers who were abandoned, but you know how many of them were. That's cool. And then if you have a look on the auto attendant, then what I consider as very nice, that you have really the deep overview about like where the calls are potentially failing for the customers to really wait so long time, or listening too long time for the things, and also the options which are mostly used. Like, yeah, my support queue was on the option 1, as you can see, so I was testing badly. So we really see that with the reporting, there could be, like, the data are there. Like, I would say if Microsoft changed something on the fundamental base of where to store those data, they can do really, really nice things with that. Unfortunately, I don't believe that they're not putting so much effort on that, because if you see the announcements about Dynamics 365 and Teams enabled, voice enabled channels and things like that, I mean, the effort for the contact center with Microsoft Space is a little bit on the different direction, probably. Yeah, but David, we can solve all your pain points. Like, if anybody here listen to my session, then I come out and like, David, we can solve it for you. Really. Yes, I know. So Teams Extend Model Contact Center is most of the time the answer on those pain points. What is it, the Teams Extend Model Contact Center? For those who does not have the experience yet, contact center platform which is basically integrated really to the Teams using the APIs, okay? Which could mean a lot of things, because I would say the contact center vendors are doing a different way how to achieve that, but they still extend it. Well, but which of them are really extended and which of them are connected? If you go to the web page of Microsoft, you are not able to find out. It's like everybody is connected, and then you have there all of the vendors. Some of them are certified, some of them not. You need to find out by yourself. Usually, if you go to the pages of those, they are really, really proud of being the extended contact center, that are Teams native. So you can find out very quickly. And then you can be sure that it will be really so much deeply integrated into the Teams world and Microsoft world. And that's where I see really big benefit of that. So Teams Extend Contact Center. It will solve your problem about role-based access. You can give, usually in those solutions, access to the supervisors to change their settings of the call flows, of the announcements. It really solves that problem. You have the real-time visibility of agents, of queues, and of calls because they handle the data, they handle the calls, they have an immediate access to those data, and they can show you the data, and they know that you would like to see those data. So they will provide you nice dashboards, they will give you, the real-time visibility on the Teams tab directly, and it's cool, it's really solving that problem. Do I have any other opportunities? Yeah, those tools, which are also, you have multiple vendors here who are offering you to the Teams call queues, use our tool, and we will give you the access to those data too, because we are using the Graph API, and we can, or any other API, and we can, show you those data too. So if you really are fine with all the stuff on the Teams call queue, and you need to just resolve those pain points, you can also visit, their stands and just have a look on their solutions. It's easy. Then maybe you will get cost-effective solution, I would say. But it doesn't solve all your problems. Where the Teams Extend Contact Center for me, because we tried few solutions and we were in the discussions and we have the experience. I will not tell you the exact name, so don't expect that I will tell you what is the one. I would like to stay neutral, but most of those can really offer you much more advanced call flows, much more advanced routing strategies than just simple call routing based on presence and serial or round robin. They can offer you even going to your CRM and making some more special things. It's really more advanced within the skill-based routing, making the special profiles. It works much better. Improved agent experience, they were focusing on the really Teams nice experience in their application, so it's trying to be more visualized and having the agent experience is in that space much better. What they also do, if you see that now some of them are announcing, we are having a desktop app. Why they are promoting that they have a desktop app? Do you know? Because they can suppress that stupid black window of the incoming call when they accept. Agents accept the call from the application, and what the application does is just hide that window. It's improving experience of the agents very significantly because they do not have to bother in going within the mouse to the window, clicking on the hide, and it's displaying also most of the information that you need to know from the CRM, from about the caller. That's the improvement, because they can do much more. But then there is a question, okay, I'm going to a different application. It's a choice, so you need to find out. And the simple CRM integrations are quite possible. I was very surprised, with one of the solutions, we enabled it, and I was able in a few moments just to set up the integration to our ticketing tool. Just because I knew what is the right URL which I'm supposed to use, and I was searching the name of the user who was calling based on the Active Directory. Boom, the tickets of the user were popping up, and easy. And more detailed reporting, really. Some of the solutions are even offering. I will talk about that on the next slide, which is almost the last one. So yeah, more detailed reporting. There are different approaches. I will talk about that, but definitely you can see much more details about even your own SLAs which you would like to create. They have a much more mature the possibilities of filtering, and it's usually much faster than going to the Power BI and downloading all of those reports. Why? Because you are going to their data store and not to the Microsoft data store. So they have own data platform for that, and it's quick. It's much quicker than going to the overall all of those reports in your tenant. Okay, so is there any difference between the solutions? That's maybe something which you might be interested in. Is there any difference if I go to this stand or this stand or this stand? They will tell you probably what is the biggest thing about their solution which you would like to find out. My lessons learned. There is a difference in the presence in the regions. Okay, should you care about that? Okay, I have a tenant in Europe. Fine, the solution is not right now only in the US. Should I care about that? Is it important for me? You need to make the decision if it's important for you, that they are now just having the build in the US, or they have a build only in Europe, and you have a tenant which is, global. There is a difference, because there is also the difference in the way how they handle the calls, and even the agent status, like what's the presence of the people. There are multiple ways how you can check the presence of the people in the teams. It could be the graph API, it could be the federation with your tenant and checking the status. Which one is the fastest? And that fundamental way how they are dealing with that is also having an impact on the experience of your agents. Because it might be quick. I have still a few minutes, I know that, and it's vibrating here, and I'm finished almost. There are different ways how they handle the reports. Some of them will offer you the Power BI. Everything on Power BI. Some of them will offer you the application, which is giving you in the web or different, and give you their own view. And maybe they will give you the connector to the Power BI later, so you can make your own Power BI reports. But if you are not the Power BI company and you don't like that too much, you can live with there. It's a different approach. They can have the desktop app, but maybe they do not have the desktop app. And you need to count on that agent experience, which might be different. So that's something you need to find out by testing, and that's really what I recommend you. Go for the trial with all of them and make your choice based on that. Because some of them will even give you the Power Automate connector natively, which if you are a Power Automate crazy madness geek guy, you can develop very nice things with that. List of calls which were abandoned with adaptive card for the specific users, notifications about the calls missed for the VIP customers, which will go directly to the manager. You can do a lot of crazy things, but then when you have a 150 call queues that you need to provision, and for each of them you need to make the Power Automate flow that makes that happen, you will probably, try to adjust your thoughts about it. And they are having a different license models. Maybe it's nice for you that you have a call queue-based license model. Maybe it's better if you have a user-based model. And you will find out what is best for you once you count your use case, your business case, right? And compliance recording. This is where I see very huge potential for them, because what they can do, they can record only the calls for the call queue. Because if you have a user-based Teams policy, compliance recording policy, all in, all out. Even internal calls, even call with your colleague that the boss is all will be recorded. But they can really do with their solutions, they can do what you consider as the best for the call queue recording. And within that, questions. If you have any question, I'm here. I'm even here after some time, until 1 hour, then I need to leave. I have a question, awesome. Oh. I don't have a question.
What's the difference between the calling on behalf of and the calling policy ID that you can create in the Teams admin center?
So if you are setting the calling ID policy, then all your calls are basically changed. If you do the calling on behalf of the resource account, then you are even using the, all what is set up on that resource account as an online voice routing policy, and you are just making that call only when you make that choice. But still you are able to call on behalf of yourself. Sorry.
Okay.
Thank you for the question.
Could you use them in conjunction with each other? So you could have a caller ID policy, but also use calling on behalf of if you needed to use a different phone number?
It's a good thing to test, I believe so. Right. Because if you are using the calling on behalf, then you as a user, you are not calling. The resource account is calling.
Right, okay.
In fact.
Thank you.
Yeah, I see the representative from Mendes.
Kind of a follow-up to that question. Is that still only available for Microsoft calling plans, or does that now extend across things like direct routing and stuff as well?
Yeah, those are working for the direct routing. Well. Yeah, you can set up the resource account within the online voice routing policy, like the normal regular Teams user, and you can do that. Which is quite useful.
You could also be a member of multiple queues, so you could have multiple.
Yeah, but what is interesting, you don't have to have then the people assigned within the number. because they can call on behalf of the resource account. So you don't have to number your people, which is good. Yeah.
And the voicemail that's exposed in the channel, is that the voicemail associated with the auto attendant or call queue? Or is that
It's the one which is assigned to that channel. So it's not even to that channel, but to that team, because it's depending on the group which you are using, the Office 365 group behind that. So it's that one which is used. It's a voicemail.
So if you send a call to a voicemail in the call queue or auto attendant,
you can make a choice which one.
and it's that shows up in the view.
Yeah, if you make that choice, then it will be that one which is populating there.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you are choosing basically that's the shared voicemail of this team, and it will be the one which is displayed in that roster.